Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for an old school bodybuilding workout. Quick reminder, if you guys will please click like down below, be greatly appreciated. If you're not subscribed or following, please do so. And if you'll be kind enough to drop me a comment down below, I would appreciate that so much. Thank you. Yes, I know it's dark for the deadlifts. Unfortunately, that might just be the nature of it for now because, again, I'm training starting really early in the mornings. The sun is not up till I'm well into my workout. And even then, it's going to be bad because the weather's rough lately, so it's raining, so it's going to be even darker. So again, we don't have real good lighting on those. Same thing for the side one. But doing what I said I'm doing with the full body. I'm going to start with a squat or a deadlift. I did 3 sets of squats, deadlifts. I just don't like doing more than about 2 sets. And since I'm going to do them a couple times a week, we're just going to do this. But I'm happy with this. I got a pretty decent 500 for 3. So I'll take it. Again, considering the cut, considering I'm, what are we, 9 pounds into this cut? And again, keeping in mind, we gained weight the first week as I bumped the carbs and everything. So it's probably more than 9 pounds of fat loss. So just coming along with it, obviously still getting leaner, obviously have a way to go. The waistline has to get way tighter. So what I decided to do with these today, because I did 2 sets of deadlifts, I wanted to make sure my posterior chain does get enough work, right? So I went ahead and did 1 set of really high rep reverse hypers right after. All right, so again, what we did with that, I'm doing them more of the Louis Simmons style now, right? Exactly how Louis Simmons taught them. This again for prehab. We're getting some extra volume on the posterior chain and everything. And I feel like I don't need much else for lower body. I'm just going to old school this up, other than I am going to do some reverse hypers. Why? Because I feel like they're extremely valuable. It's the one non-old school thing I am going to do here for a bit, mainly because of the benefits are just enormous, absolutely enormous. So I always go for my leg thing to some sort of chest press, so chest and back. And I do it that way because my pressing muscles probably need a little more development. So I run it in that order. And again, because my back is kind of dominant. So again, did benching. I decided instead of any soft touch to go, I'm like, let's just pause bench. Just nice, good pause, flat back. So I'm just inside the rings. So again, for me, this gives me the best chest activation. So I'm just doing some nice pause reps. I managed to do 3 sets of 8 with 245. So I know pretty much where my maxes are based on this because I know historically what all my reps have been. So I know that my max is still well over 315. So I know based on this I can hit 335 right now. Just based on history, because even when I did the 365 bench, I was able to do a couple sets of 10 with 350. Right? This is 5 pounds lighter for sets of 8. So I know that for me, historically, since I came in and did all 3 sets pretty clean, no real issues, this keeps me at about a 335, and I can live with that. All right. The main thing is I do, from an ego perspective, even though I don't care about this stuff so much on a cut, I do gauge my muscle mass and muscle retention based on certain strength. And so I need to be able to do at least a rep or 2 with 315 on the bench. I need to be able to rep 405 on the squat, rep 500 on the deadlift, which we're still holding at. I did that double yesterday with 405 for my second set, and I left reps in the tank, but it's just I wanted a good quality set there. But I'm mostly just heavy squatting and deadlifting. That's all that I need. Again, if we're going to talk about that more classic era look, they didn't have overdeveloped stuff with their legs, and they didn't have the big rectus femoris, so squatting and pulling will do it. And like I said, a few reverse hypers if I need some extra hamstrings, if I can throw my glute ham raises in. And even when I get done with all this cut, if I want the deadlift and all that to climb back up, guys, I can go hammer all those accessories for a month, and my deadlift and everything will just climb back up. Not that worried. But in the meantime, muscle, and going for that look, right? We're going for that look. So that means I'm going to focus really hard on things like pullovers. I'm going to focus really hard on the barbell curls. Right, we're going to do pull-ups, dips. You know, the movements that I know are going to really give more of that classic aesthetic look. And I'm going to hammer that really hard while I train, while I cut. Sorry about this row set, the first set, it's a little close. It was starting to rain, but then the rain stopped. So I was able to move the camera back for the second and third set. It was still drizzling. I didn't want the phone to get too wet in the rain. But again, Doing these without straps, I've realized, look, I can do really strict rows without straps. I started strapping when I started doing sheet rows, but I can do 225 or sets of 8 really easy. I had someone watching me do these, were like, oh, we're just doing 135. I'm like, dude, come on. You guys can clearly, well, maybe you can't tell that there's 2 plates aside. There's calibrated plates. Plus, guys have watched me do them from the front view. So, come on, just silly. I didn't lose a full plate strength on my rows. My back is not smaller. It's kind of funny. Had someone comment. But yeah, so rows give you back thickness. So again, I'm going to work in rows and pull-ups, just like because I'm doing a lot of upper body volume, some of the big movements, I'm going to rotate them around through the week. That's one of the keys to the frequency. And the other thing, notice with the benching, if I'm going to be doing this stuff, I don't need to be doing a bunch of heavy benching. Let's just build muscle. I can do a little bit higher reps. I can do 8s. All right, the pullovers, I bumped the weight up. And I managed to get 10, but they hurt like hell. And I did them as full straight arm. And the thing is, I'm noticing on the full straight arm, I'm getting some arm pain, and I can't get quite as much range of motion. So on the first couple, it's like, man, this is starting to really hurt. Now my triceps were crazy lit. They felt like they were going to rip off the bone. But I'm like, I'm going to need to do a little arm bend on these. I realized it after the first 2 sets. And so for the third set, I went for a little more arm bend, right? Went for some arm bend. Very, very happy with how it felt. So I'm like, okay, that's where it's going to be my sweet spot. Because I'm still getting used to doing the barbell for these. It feels ridiculous stimulus. Like I've been getting a lat and long head of my tricep DOMs. I've had it for days now. Since doing these on Monday, this is Thursday. My whole outer edge of my lat and the long head of my tricep have had DOMs. They've absolutely hurt. So I'll take the win on that. So there's the low back. I took a picture of that too. It's slowly tightening up, it's tightening up. So I want to see what it looks like at 200. Because if we lose 13 more pounds of fat, it's got to come from somewhere. Keep in mind, guys, a gallon of fat is about 8 pounds, 7 to 8 pounds. So you see what I mean? That's still my biggest area. So when that fat comes off, where's that low back going to be? It's going to really be tighter, loose skin or not. And I think all the loose skin's going to keep tightening up. I think we're in a good place there. So some of this with the belt. So you guys notice a little more squishing over the belt. I can put the other belt on now. Okay. Normally, I have not been able to put that belt on until I'm about 207 to 208. I'm putting it on at 213. I can actually get it on. That's my size medium insert. Okay. All right. That's a good sign. We're down. Not only notches in the other belt, we've been able to put that belt on. Okay. A couple of weeks ago, it was like still over an inch from being able to even put the prong in an inch or 2. Now we can put the belt on. So I've been wearing it the last couple of days, right? That snugger belt, because then that lip doesn't get in the way, that little tongue coming out on the larger belt. So here on these pullovers, I'm bending the arm a little bit. This feels way more comfortable. Still feels a really good stimulus, able to get 10 reps. So again, I think just a little bit of bend will be okay. And a lot of guys do a little more than that, and that's okay. I may work over to that, because I've seen guys, some pretty jacked dudes doing like 225. So I just want to get to 135 for 10s and then go from there. But they're usually doing a lot of elbow bend, but it's still the same effect, right? So I want to mess with that more. All right, barbell curls, took these to failure, same weight as last time. Trying to do them fairly strict, obviously it's a little hard. But again, doing the full range of motion, going to my lockout, and I don't think people realize that. Sometimes people are like, you don't lock your elbows. That's as far as I can go. Notice I'm having to lean because my elbow won't lock. That's my range of motion. Like I feel it lock. So, and I always remind that people, they'll see me do the weighted dead hangs and they're not realizing my elbow feels locked. It doesn't matter though. We get in the deep stretch, got a hell of a bicep burn on all these sets. Really, really good bicep burn. So what I'm doing is the full range of motion. I'm taking a little bit closer of a grip because I just feel the bicep more. And then I'm keeping the wrist cocked back so that as we come up towards the face, we're getting keeping some tension on the bicep. So we also do that though to get that long head of the bicep. That is one of the functions. It doesn't just bend the elbow. And then I do just the elbow when I did the dumbbells to finish, right? So the nice big movement, I'm taking it through the long range of motion, right? So I'm treating it like a compound, really. And the barbell curl, look, the big standing barbell curl, is a compound movement with the barbell. It really is. Like, people think of it as an isolation, but it's not. Right? It's a big, heavy barbell movement, and because we can use that other joint, that other function of it, it's just technically a compound movement. And I know it's technically would be classified as an isolation, but it really is a compound movement for the biceps. And I'm going to keep pushing it really hard. So again, these sets are going to failure. The last couple, I'm trying to do a rep and it's just sticking. So that is true muscle failure, right? It just stops. I just can't bring it up. But happy with it. I've made some progress on that. I want to keep pushing that lift. Then calf raise is what I decided to do because it's so hard to get up on that plate. 315, I've been able to do it for like 7 or 8, but it's just so difficult getting into position. So I'm like, let's just do high reps. And I took these all to failure. I got 15s and I couldn't get more. All right. So standing up on this plate, I did 225, and I did 3 sets of 15. And I felt a good burn, and the calves reached failure, so I'll take the win. For reference, guys, remember, I was able to do up to 405 on like a little short plate. And then when I would go just on my toes with no plate, I've done 500 for 10. This is equally challenging on the calves. So this 225 going up on that 2.5 inch plate, I feel just as much calf as that heavier weight. So this is a really, really good sweet spot. And yes, see, you can tell the belt's kind of tighter there, but that's okay. So when that fat comes down, that belt's going to be even looser. So that belt's going to give me a metric too for what's happening with my waist, because there's no play in it. That is a 13 millimeter thick indoor competition belt. That's 1 inch thick of leather. It's not budging. It is never going to stretch, right? So that belt's really going to tell me where I'm at in terms of waist size. So I think it's a really good metric now, since the belt sizes were, so I've been using that and I've been happy with it. But now that I can get this belt on, yeah, it's snug. But what happens when some of that tightens in? That's going to be kind of a next goal, right? This is a non-scale goal to determine where we're at when this belt gets looser, right? And then we don't have it squish anything over or under, none of the loose skin, under the fat. Then we know we're in a really, really good place. So I'm looking forward to that, right? That's among my goals. I'm going to make that happen. Going to be real happy when that occurs. But yeah, the calf raises were good. Obviously, my legs are on point these days. I actually lost my footing. The calf, because of the set to failure, I went up on that toe to do that. It got a little crampy. Calf gave out. So we know it hit failure. Then I did rear delt raises today. I did lateral raises with plates yesterday for shoulders today. I'm like, let's just do the rear delt flies. I like these. This is the most weight I've ever got for 10. So these are hard. These are limit sets. So I just did these for my 3 sets of 10, right? And like we said, the waistline's getting smaller. We still have fat. We still have loose skin, but it's coming in. And so, we'll see more of that. So we've got a good idea of what it's doing. It feels a little squishier, but again, it's because I'm losing fat. So then it feels a little squishier and more watery. But that's a good sign. That means that now there's water just being displaced, like the fat's being displaced, and then the body wants to put a little water there till it gets used to that tissue gone, then the water drops. It's an interesting thing I've seen experts write about sometimes. We did this, and then I just finished off a curl. So I'm like, okay, I didn't want to do forearms today. Let's do some dumbbell curls as a finisher. And I use these same weights. They were almost too heavy. Yeah, I know they're like a little bit, they don't look like the greatest curls in the world. You're like, coach, they're not as strict as I might like, but they hurt. And my biceps were pretty well finished at this point. So as I'm doing these, like, my biceps were just done, right? I probably should have reduced taking plates off, but I'm like, I already had the dumbbells loaded from the other exercise. Let's just finish with these. I know they don't look good on camera, and I know I'm a little cheaty with them, and it's almost like a drag curl, but they felt good, and that's the main thing. It just felt my biceps finish off. It just hit them from a different angle. I just wanted a good bicep burn at the end. We got that, and even if they don't look the prettiest, and I don't like the footage on them looking at it, they don't look the prettiest, I still felt them. And it did feel like they gave me a really good bicep burn at the end after the other stuff. So again, really, really happy with today's workout. Again, things should be tightening up again more as I get used to the new swooshes and keep tightening down. If I just keep losing the fat, it's going to get tighter and tighter and tighter in the waistline. So we're just going to focus on it, going to make it happen, burn fat, fasted cardio, fasted training, keep the diet on point. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.